everyone, and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 17th of June 2024. It's Gary here again, and I hope you had a great week, and I also hope that all the fathers out there had a wonderful Father's Day and you got a chance to do whatever it was you wanted to do for Father's Day. And if that included your family, that's fantastic. If it included getting as far away from your family as possible, then that's good as well. Whatever floats your boat is good enough. And we had a great day, Leo and I. Do you know what? I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a second. But we had quite an adventurous day. Let's just say that from start to finish. And as you know, last year, Father's Day, we spent together at the Leaving Do and at the Father's Day barbecue at Bramalea over for the convention in Toronto. And next year, we will also be spending it together when we are all together down in Florida. So really looking to have a great year and get all excited and pumped for that and celebrate and enjoy Father's Day together again next year. Okay, right, I'm going to start with a what Gaz got wrong last week, and not exactly Rangers related, this one, but since I'm a Rangers fan, I guess I can probably mention it here. It was my nephew's son. So what's that, like my my second great nephew. Aye, come on, Gary, it's a great nephew. So my great nephew was graduating from, I believe it was kindergarten or preschool. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was chatting with Callum's wife Carly, and she was trying to organise a little bit of a get together. Can you make it to the event? I probably can't make it to the event. Can you make it to our house afterwards? Absolutely. Leo and I can be there. We've just got a wee bit of logistics to manage, but we'll get there. Oh, great. We're really looking forward to seeing you. That's fantastic. And then just as Leo and I are sitting down to dinner, I get a text from Carly saying, "Hey, are you still able to make it?" And I was like, "What? Make it to? Oh. So then cue the texts from basically everyone that was there that knows me, almost everyone that was there that knows me, and I got it right in the neck because I literally, completely and utterly forgot. And the reason that I forgot is that I didn't put it in my calendar right away. I did not do that, and I ended up missing it, which was not my intent whatsoever. And I told Leo at the time, and he's like, "Wow, how did you manage to do that?" I have no idea. I just didn't put it in my calendar, and it just went out of my head. And he says, "That's very unlike you." And I says, "Yep, absolutely. I told my love, Erin," and she says, "Wow, how did that happen?" Yet same sort of conversation. So that's a bit of a one-off. Not very often, I should say, that sort of thing happens. But boy, oh boy, did that happen, and that was not my intent. So apologies to Callum, Carly, and especially to Hudson for missing his graduation there. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to be firstly invited back to future graduations, and secondly get the opportunity to actually be there this time. And then kinda in the same vein, I mentioned that Leo and I had a little bit of an adventurous day yesterday for Father's Day. I woke up in the morning. I wanted to get up early for the football, so I got up early for the 7 o'clock kickoff, as it is over here, which is the first game. And I could not for the life of me find the remote control for the TV. I couldn't find it in the living room anywhere. And we were in a wee bit of a rush to leave to head out to a party that I'll talk about a wee bit later on the shout outs. But there was nothing, there was no hilarity, there was no stupidity. It was just Leo and I in a wee bit of a rush. Right, I'll put the TV off and we'll jump out. And then we were jumping into the car. Actually, we didn't jump into the car, we just walked into the car with Debbie and Andy to get an opportunity to go to the party. And the remote control is still lost. I don't know where it is. So I've got this kind of finagled situation where I can still watch the TV but can't find that. So I'm saying all this, folks, as a little bit of a date and time stamp that you can remember. The podcast from the 17th of June 2024, when my mental cognition or mental deterioration started, because I don't think I've ever lost a remote control in my entire life, and I certainly haven't missed important events. I've maybe been a wee bit late and time's gone past, but I think this is the beginning of the end, folks. So I'm going to do as good a job as I can for you this week, just in case I don't get to come back next week, and then we'll see what happens from there. But wow, what is that all about? I don't know if I'm experiencing some sort of mental episode, because We really should have been at a convention this past weekend, or maybe the weekend before, depending on when we were going to have it. I suppose it was actually 2 weeks ago, wasn't it, when we were planning to go to New York, but obviously we didn't get to go. But yeah, there's something going on. I don't know what it is, but just please keep an eye on me and make sure that I'm okay. That would be very much appreciated. On to the game segment. Again, no Rangers game. But I just wanted to mention again that the key dates that I mentioned last week, which was the 24th of June, which is a week today, that the men's team returns to training. And then on the 7th of July, a couple of weeks after that, travelling to Holland. The 20th of July, we have the game at Murrayfield against Manchester United. The 24th midweek game is the inaugural Trevor Francis friendly against Birmingham. And then the 27th is the away friendly match against Union Berlin, and if there's any other stuff in between then, of course, that'll get publicised as we move closer, but those are the confirmed dates. As I mentioned last week, I just love the fact that Rangers are telling us when it is, so we don't kind of have to guess, and it still seems somewhat surreal that next week we're going to see photographs of new players and a bit of a different shaped squad and starts to really just basically build up the momentum and the excitement for season 24-25. And then we did, what's the best word? Endure. Depends what way you look at it. Scotland's first game at the Euros, and wow, man, ouch. I think it's probably the best thing to say. It was a 5-1 going on 6 or 7 or 8-1 doing that we got, and we're celebrating getting a throw in the third minute or so, like Kieran Tierney. What was that all about? We've got that utter clown Porteous just doing what he's always done, but on this occasion it isn't against Rangers and it isn't against a Rangers player, so he doesn't quite get the forgiveness that he enjoyed when he was at Diet Celtic before, and it was just an awful performance from start to finish, basically, and the stats kind of showed that as well. The second game is absolutely crucial on Wednesday now, isn't it? And it's kind of ironic. You never know what that one goal, that OG from Rudiger, might do for their chances of qualification come the end of the group, which is this coming Sunday. Or they'll get beat on Wednesday and go into the last game with all that kind of but this can happen or that could happen and all that other garbage that we seem to kind of convince ourselves is hope as we go forward. But just good to see them in there. We'd rather maybe have a wee bit of a competitive game rather than just what we were served by Steve Clarke and his band of merry Diet or merry Celtic players, I guess. What's that? But there's like 17 of the starting 11 were Celtic players or something like that. You get what you get away in Europe. I saw a brilliant stat about that, or a brilliant tweet or something. I can't remember what it was. The majority of these guys have flopped and failed over the years with that mob, and they did exactly the same. So kind of a little bit of a laugh up the sleeve, but I don't like to see Scotland get humiliated, not even close. And then today we did see the first representation from Rangers at the Euros, and that was with Yanis Hadji getting to come on around about an hour in. I think they just scored the third goal, Romania, and he got a chance to get half an hour on there as well, so hopefully that bodes well for him to get some more game time on there and add another million or two to his price tag if he is indeed not coming back to the club. On to RTV, we met with David Melvin and we had a great conversation last week just to basically review the season past and get prepped and organised for next season. We discussed some potential opportunities for making the entire RTV production more robust, more scalable, more user-friendly for us here over on this continent. And I think I've said this many times before, but we're in safe hands with David and his team. He is now enjoying himself away in Mallorca on a well-deserved holiday. We will have access to club vouchers. I talked about this at the NARSA AGM on the weekend there. Basically all the entitlements that we enjoyed last year in terms of flexibility with vouchers, flexibility of packages that you can take as a club, we will have that again. And that's a wee bit more admin for us, but it's certainly more flexibility for the membership to be able to set themselves up for success as we start off preparations for this season. So it'll be about early July time. We'll get ourselves organised there, which is less than 2 weeks away, of course, and we'll get ourselves, I guess maybe just exactly 2 weeks away, and we'll get ourselves organised in terms of getting the vouchers out to the clubs. We will have access to all the pre-season friendlies as part of our package, and such, and we'll get on with the survey. So kind of status quo, I guess, is probably the best way to say that, but not in a non-progressive way. In a last season really worked for us, and thankfully it did for RTV as well, so it's a bit of a win-win there. Okay, on the shout-outs, I was planning to give you a bit of the Andy Gorham story for, in tribute to the late great Bobby Gilmer that passed a couple of weeks back there. Do you know literally what happened? I couldn't find the email that was sent with the story. I was looking for it yesterday and I filed it somewhere and I was in a bit of a rush, and I was like, no, I want to get this story right. So I'll build up a wee bit more anticipation between now and next week, and I'll definitely get the story, because I have it, I've read it. I think I mentioned last week that it's a topper. It's very, very funny. So we will get that out there for you next week. I just couldn't put my hands on it, and I wanted to get recording. Right now, it's literally in half time in the France and Austria game, so I wanted to record this quickly and then head back downstairs for the remainder of the game, so I didn't want to mess around too much trying to search for things. Also, hearty congratulations from everyone at NARSA to Graham Souness, who is now a CBE, for his services to football and charity, and of course to Ali McCoist, MBE, who is now also an OBE. I don't know if you're MBE and OBE, or OBE takes over. Forgive me for my ignorance on that, but he is now OBE for his services to football and broadcasting. So great to see two genuine legendary figures, being recognised internationally, essentially, by the King in the King's Honours list there. So fantastic news. And here's some other personal stuff for me. The party that I mentioned earlier was indeed Calgary, the Rangers Sports Club of Calgary's very own Peter McAleer, who was celebrating a bit of a dual celebration, where he was celebrating his retirement and his 65th birthday out at his ranch out in the outskirts of Calgary. It's this big beautiful acreage and stuff. The only downer for Peter and his family, who did a fantastic job. There was a DJ and a chef and incredible food and all sorts. It just did not stop pissing of rain the whole time that we were there, which was really too bad for them. But we got a chance to go out and hang out with them a wee bit and have a bit of a good laugh when we were out there. So very, very happy birthday, Peter, and congratulations again on your retirement. And another one, he was something that doesn't really happen to you every day. I was playing football last night, and we were down at a place in the kind of deep south of Calgary against the Calgary Gunners over 35s, and playing away. The game finished up 1-1 at the end, and I think probably a draw was a decent enough result. I played like I literally have never played football before in my entire life whatsoever. I had about 6 fresh air swipes and all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure what was going on. Remember what I said at the beginning, folks? Remember what I said about what's happening here in terms of my decline? I think that was another part of it as well. But a fellow came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, listen, I listened to your podcast. I played football with you down in Vegas in 2022, and it was great to hear." Just a very quick conversation, but just a quick shout out to Graham Curry. Thanks very much, Graham, for coming up and saying hello, and thanks very much, of course, for listening. And just kind of let's forget my performance on the field, and let's just concentrate more on the edutainment that I provide to everybody through the podcast here. But good man, Graham. It was great to play against you, and good luck for the rest of the season. Now, here is a beauty. This is not something I get to do every single day. I have a special 25th wedding anniversary message to send out to none other than my wonderful sister Debbie and her wonderful husband Andy. Debbie and Andy Carey, who are celebrating their 25-year anniversary tomorrow, the 18th of June 2024. I cannot believe that 25 years ago tomorrow, Andy and I went to the gym in the morning. I don't want to fool you that we were working out. We just went for a sauna so that we could have a decent shave. And then we had a couple of beers before the wedding. And then it was a fantastic wedding in the church, and then over to the town hall for the remainder of the evening. And I was best man at the wedding, very, very fortunate to be so, and I've been fortunate to be best man 3 times, but this was my inauguration and probably my best one. I think I offended the least amount of people at this particular one, which was handy. That's when I was nice, when I was younger. And yeah, 25 years they're married. They've got a fabulous holiday planned for a wee bit later in the year, and they're going somewhere very, very nice tomorrow for dinner as well. So congratulations, well done and well deserved on your 25th anniversary, folks. That's absolutely incredible. And while we're on the Careys, I'd like to wish a belated happy birthday to Big Andy Carey on celebrating his 72nd birthday just on the weekend past there. Happy birthday, Andy. That was 2 years ago. We were down at the Italian restaurant in Johnston enjoying the day with the t-shirts. I've still got that t-shirt as well, by the way. So that was a good day. So yeah, really, really nice. Some good stuff happening on the family front, apart from Hudson's graduation and my remote control, of course. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Another reminder for the cultural night with Toronto Midtown Rangers Supporters Club on the 19th of July. That's a Friday night, 7 p.m. No cover charge, but please do email them at tmrsc1998@outlook.com if you're planning on heading there. That's going to be at Gatherings Resto Bar at 49 St Clair Avenue West in Toronto. It's coming up quick. That's what's that, basically just a month away now. That seems to be ages. I've been talking about that as well. So good luck to all the boys and girls over there for that. On to the convention update. I can officially confirm it's 360 days and 51 weeks until we descend upon Kissimmee in Osceola County, Florida. That's of course June the 12th to the 15th. And that's going to be at Omni Orlando at Champions Gate. Yeah, we're less than a year to go. And what's that, 51 weeks? We're going to be in the 40s here in a couple of weeks. And then it's going to be 30s and 20. Of course, you know the mathematics from there. It's going to come up quick is basically what I'm saying. And it's quite interesting because in dealing with the hotel, they're kind of like, oh, you guys are, yes, you're in. We're delighted to have you. But you're not quite on a radar yet. You know, once it gets closer to the event, then we're fully focused and we're all yours. But for now, you're just kind of part of this bucket of people that are a year out. Whereas I'm kind of thinking, or I'm saying actually, literally saying to them, listen, this is going to come up quick. We need to make sure we've got this organised. We need to make sure that we have everything on point. And they're like, relax, wee man. Just take it easy and just enjoy the time that you have. Maybe I should take their advice. I'm not 100% sure. But we are continuing to assess our entertainment options specifically for the Friday night. This became quite a hot topic at our annual general meeting that we held there this past Saturday. We will not be progressing with a flute band option for next year. I know that's a very emotive topic and subject for some, but we will be working through some other Rangers related entertainment for the Friday night. It's not like we're moving away from a flute band and we're going to have everybody doing crafts at a table, or we're going to have a hot dog eating competition or something that's completely irrelevant. We're not going to do any of that. It's going to be Rangers themes, Rangers related. It's just not going to be a flute band for this time. I do genuinely appreciate all the feedback that we've had on that. I do genuinely understand and appreciate that this is not everyone's cup of tea, that the flute band on the Friday night was an absolute pivotal, part or focal point of the convention experience. We're just going to try something a wee bit different at this time as we move forward. And I just wanted to quell a little bit of actually I don't even know if it's a rumour or not, if someone says it blatantly to your face, but this was NARSA's decision. This was not anything that Rangers imposed upon us. Did we take Rangers into account when we were making a decision? Of course we did. We always do that for everything that we're doing for the conventions because we want as much representation and support from the club as we possibly can. This year is a wee bit different, of course, because we have a genuine bond with Rangers in terms of the logistics and organisation and support that we can both give each other as we move here. But this was a decision that was long in the making, and we had decided, fairly soon after Toronto last year, that we would try something a wee bit different as we were going to move forward. Maybe not for New York, but for future years. And we're going to give it a go. I personally genuinely believe it's the right thing to do, just to try and maybe attract a different type and style of clientele who maybe don't come, and still give the people who are regular attendees something very Rangersy. There's still going to be a cultural element to the entire event through all of the official dates and the shoulder dates as well, but it's just not going to be a flute band. But I would love to hear from anyone. I've seen some rude stuff online, quite frankly, the usual farce, disgrace, ridiculous, and all that sort of thing. If you get comments like that, just keep it to yourself. But if you've got some constructive information or feedback you'd like to provide, please by all means get in touch with me, rangersscc@hotmail.com, and I'd love to have some dialogue with you about it. I'm not unaware of the implications of this decision, and we will see through the fullness of time whether it was the right thing to do or not. I think it's worth a go. I think it's worth a try to see if something different would provide a different experience for folks. So we do have a meeting with Rangers. I believe we're going to have this meeting on Wednesday, just our bi-weekly get-together, where we'll get together with Natalie's team, Lindsay and such, and Greg, of course, and just keep the conversations going about the logistics and the planning and such as we go there. Just another reminder, the hotel rooms are out for booking for right now, and they are $199 plus 14.5% tax, which is roughly about $228 per night, American, of course, and the first night deposit will be taken. That's a critical, crucial part for some people, and I think that's putting some people off actually booking their rooms for right now. But if you know for a fact you're genuinely definitely going, please head in there and get the room booked so that you don't miss out. And as always, I'll leave the link there in the blurb for the pod today and for this week. And we are working again, we talked about this at the AGM. I'll talk about the AGM here just very briefly in a second, but we are going to be working on the ticket pricing here very, very quickly, and it's something that we've been percolating away on for quite some time. I just need a little bit of information from the hotel to be able to say, right, okay, that's what that part costs, and then we can build the rest of the parts into the tickets. So we're hoping to have the tickets certainly like in July. I can't see it being June. We're going to try and, of course, try and pick a time where everybody's paying attention and that Rangers are kind of front and centre of mind, and get the tickets out there so we can start to genuinely gauge the interest about what the numbers are going to look like for NARSA 2025. And I did actually start last week from the ask a couple of weeks back on your NARSA Convention Stories. So I would implore Graham that I met last night to give me his NARSA Convention Stories. I should have mentioned that last night when we were chatting, now that I think about it. But any story, funny, sad, poignant, mental, like whatever, it doesn't really matter what the story is. I just love to hear what type and style of experience people have had at the conventions over the years that we've been having them, because that's over 30 years, and I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of great stories that are there. I did implore the NARSA executive just before I started recording today to say, give me your stories, folks, and get going. I don't have any that have been sent in. We of course had Victoria's brilliant story about the beer can tower last week, so I'm going to give you a quick one for me here. It's not prepared at all, but I'm going to do mine as well. I'm going to put some real poignant things together as we go forward, and just to kind of give you a little bit of entertainment as we go forward. But back in 2011, we were in Orlando, and Walter Smith was one of the guests, and I was always a huge fan of Walter Smith. Everyone was, well, maybe not everyone, but most people were as we were going forward. And he was there, and he got a standing ovation, I believe, on the Friday night. It was just incredible to be there. And I'd been saying, I really, really want the opportunity just to have a conversation with him, just to spend 5-10 minutes in his company and just hear some stuff that you would never typically hear in public, and kind of straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and such. And I'm like, how do I get that when there's 1,000 people here, or whatever the number was at the time? I wasn't involved with the NARSA executive at the time, so I'm not 100% sure. And I was thinking, how can I do that? And then on the Saturday after the AGM, we're hanging out, and there was basically a blue room, which was a kind of modified hall. I think it was maybe where we met for some of the occasions, but it was kind of passed off. There was some Rangers classic games on replay and drink specials and things like that. But my challenge with that area was there was no sunlight in there. It was all kind of curtained off and basically very dark. So myself and Taff Moffat, who was a member of Calgary at the time, we went down to the convention together. We had said, do you want to go to the blue room, or do you want to just stay in the lobby bar here, and we'll just hang out in the lobby bar, get a couple of drinks. The the lasses were out sunbathing, catching some rays and stuff like that. And so we kind of debated, right, well, we're here just now, why don't we just sit in the lobby bar? Maybe had a few bevies, people came by, said hello, had a great afternoon, a lot of fun. And then just as we're leaving, some other folks came up and we says, oh, where were you this afternoon? Oh, we were in the blue room. We were going to go, but it was a wee bit dark, so we just felt like just getting some vitamin C, as it were, inside. Of course, we're looking at the outside, but at least we can see the sun. And they said, oh, Walter Smith and his brother were in there the whole afternoon. Yeah, Walter Smith and his brother were there the whole afternoon. We are literally about 90 yards away from the area. We just decided to sit in the bar, which I know now doesn't support the convention because the bar is separate from the food and beverage minimums that we commit to. I didn't know that at the time, and I could have went for two things. One, to support the convention and continue to buy my beer that would go to NARSA's food and beverage attrition numbers, but more importantly, number two, to sit and just get an opportunity, even just with a couple of beers, to be a wee bit brave and go up and say, Mr. Smith. I mean, I did get to meet him very briefly for a photograph that time, but it was nothing like the ability to be able just to sit down and just say, please tell me some stories, please tell me some stories. Fortunately, I got the opportunity to do that a number of years later as we were planning for his attendance at a couple of conventions, and unfortunately, as you know, that never happened due to his untimely passing. But oh boy, I absolutely kicked myself. Well, I'm talking about it here. What's that, 13 years later? And I still can't believe that I did that. It was just an absolute fluke. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't to be, but I was gutted and I still kind of am. That's too bad. Had a good afternoon. It could have been a great afternoon. So that's the sort of stuff that I'd love to hear from you and get the ability to talk to you about that, and on future pods I'll definitely have something else for you. Okay, so on to other business. The AGM, as I mentioned, it went well on the weekend there. Very thankful to everybody that made the effort to show up and have some ongoing spirited conversations. Sometimes they can be quite quiet. This one was very chatty and we had a good opportunity to dialogue and go through what we had to do. Thanks again to everyone on the NARSA executive for being fully prepared for everything that we had to get through, and of course to Sandra for keeping us all in check. And we should have the minutes out here pretty quickly, because I did check my email just before I started recording today and I have the draft minutes in my inbox, so I'll be able to take a look at them hopefully today and get them back to Sandra. We can get them distributed, and then that's another important bit of admin behind us as well. But one thing I did want to do today for you was just to give you I'm going to actually read out a letter here that was provided by Rangers through Greg Marshall, just in terms of, a message from the club to NARSA, and we read it out as we need to do as per our constitution at the AGM. But for the wider audience, for the folks that didn't make it to the AGM, and for the other listeners, I was just going to read it out because I love stuff like this. It gives you that opportunity. Sometimes you don't spend a lot of time together and you kind of feel like you're being forgotten, or you're not quite as appreciated, or you don't know how they feel, or whatever it looks like. So yeah, if you forgive me, I'm just going to read this out verbatim here. Dear NARSA members, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to NARSA for the diligent and continued work in connecting our supporters across North America. Your efforts play a crucial role in growing the Rangers support globally, which remains a key goal for us moving forward. At the club, we deeply appreciate the incredible support we receive from North America. This support spans many areas, including Rangers TV, merchandise purchases, memberships, and much more. Although we weren't able to gather this year, the dialogue between the club and NARSA remains strong. I look forward to NARSA's participation in our International Supporters Working Group, which aims to strengthen the relationships with our overseas supporters and provide opportunities for growth. Our objectives include analysing current engagement channels, proposing innovative solutions, understanding unique needs, and developing targeted strategies. Following an incredibly disappointing end to the season, yeah, you're not half wrong there, we are determined to get the club back to winning ways. I would like to extend my best wishes to departing CEO James Bisgrove for the future. James has been a staunch supporter of the fan engagement department at Rangers FC and a trusted ally, ensuring that supporters were considered in key decisions at Ibrox. Over the past year, significant changes have occurred within the executive structure at Rangers under James' stewardship. We now have a strong executive team supporting the chairman, John Bennett. I have every faith that we can build on the positive momentum within the club to achieve the success on the pitch that both fans and the club crave. We are immensely confident in the team that James has built, and I can confirm that the club's full commitment to our supporter engagement strategy going forward. The club will continue to strive for success on the pitch and provide Philippe Clement with all the support needed to reshape the squad. Once again, I'd like to thank you for all your loyalty and support. I look forward to seeing Kissimmee 2025 become one of the greatest NARSA events ever. Best regards, Greg Marshall, Head of Supporter Engagement at Rangers Football Club. So, lovely sentiment, great information that was put in there. One thing I just wanted to go back to was the International Supporters Working Group. It's something that Greg and I have been chatting about over the last wee while, and we NARSA will be absolutely represented there. I'm going to be taking an active role in that as we move forward, as is Brian Campbell as well, our VP, to move forward and hopefully help shape, influence, support and such the efforts that the club has to do something more intentional on the international front. More about that when I have more information. I've literally told you everything I know about that thus far. On to the communication section for this week. I did notice on the Rangers website that we did have World Wrestling, what's it called? What's the E part? Entertainment, isn't it? WWE stars, superstars actually, I guess I should say, Drew McIntyre and Piper Niven at Ibrox last week, along with the world's strongest man, Tom Stoltman, and they were given these wonderful away kits with their numbers and their shirt, their names, on the back of them, and the club did a great job of advertising that on Rangers TV. If you haven't seen that, go to YouTube and take a peek. And of course, they were there to get inducted. As part of it was to get inducted into the Scottish Wrestling Hall of Fame. I had no idea there was such a thing, but then what do I know about wrestling? Not a whole hell of a lot. And it was also to promote the event, the WWE event that they had going on. I believe it was at the Hydro a little bit later that evening, and unfortunately Drew McIntyre lost the World Heavyweight Championship bout against a guy called Priest. Okay, and unfortunately also Piper Niven also lost in her match as well. So I know these things, I know the E part is entertainment as I say it out loud now, and I know they're kind of scripted and they kind of know what's going to happen before the bout, but who in their right mind would have these Scottish superstars, build up all this anticipation and excitement and then have both of them get beat, and then have the Rangers guy get beat by a guy called Priest? I think I need to sit down with whomever's in charge of the WWE these days and say, listen, I can give you a wee bit of education from both a North American and a Rangers perspective as to what kind of might be a better script for your events if you decide to take it back to Scotland at any point. But unlucky to both Drew and Piper, but great to see a little bit of international recognition and success coming to Rangers during the close season there. There is also tickets on sale now for an evening with Jermaine Defoe and Chris Boyd. That's going to be on Friday, the 30th of August at Edmiston House, and tickets go on sale tomorrow, actually at noon tomorrow. So if you go to the Edmiston House website at noon, that will be noon UK time, of course, tomorrow. And then there's a general sale starting on Wednesday, the 19th of June at noon also, and it's presented by Parks Motor Group. It's going to be at Edmiston House. It's going to be a great time, I'm absolutely sure. I'd love to, we tried to get Jermaine Defoe to come to Las Vegas in 2022. I was speaking with his agent and we just couldn't make it happen because he was getting married that weekend. Kind of lame excuse if you ask me. People get married in Vegas all the time. That's what I suggested to his agent, but it was a no-fly zone, so I guess that's just the way that it goes. But that sounds like a great night, and hopefully that's something that will be well supported by the supporters around there. Just another, I guess this is a little bit of a I'm sorry message here. I talked about the Euro 2024 pool for, what was that, 3 months, something like that, and then we just got beat by time because I never dedicated the time to actually getting it out there. So my apologies for that if anybody was waiting on it. The next time I do something like that, I'm going to take immediate action. This could be another thing that's part of my demise here. I wonder if that's another thing, this procrastination or something like that. Don't worry for me, folks. Just say a prayer for me, and like, and then we'll see how it goes. But my bad, we never got it done, and I do apologise, as I say, for anybody that was waiting. Please check out the NARSA website if you're a NARSA member club and look and make sure that all the details that should be there are there for your club, especially prior to the new season. And I do have some more quiz questions from Bobby Jameson. He thought that the quiz questions were going to stop at the end of the season. I made up one for the last time. We didn't do the newsletter last week. Lorraine was travelling down to the Omni Resort to do some fact finding and such when she was down there, and did a great job of that. So we'll resurrect the newsletter from this week going forward. And I still haven't heard from anyone about what you thought of the interview with David Holmes and whether that inspired you to make a purchase of the book. Please, can somebody just get in touch with me and let me know, one, if you listened, and two, if you did, what you thought, especially if it's something nice. But I would like to hear any sort of feedback from that, because as I mentioned before, David and Lynn, his daughter Lynn, would certainly sincerely appreciate the opportunity to know how it went, to know how it came across, and to see if that's something that they should maybe continue doing going forward. Okay, my friends, I don't know how I managed to get 35 or 36 minutes in a closed season when there's no games, but that's what happens when I have to tell you about my mental cognitive demise. I guess please don't worry about me. Actually, please do worry about me, and we'll take it from there. That will do it for this week, my friends. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen, and please do share it with whoever you think might enjoy it. Here's to better fortunes for my TV remote control for this week. Here's to better fortunes for Scotland this week to maybe just shut the guys on my team up, the English guys and the English wannabe guys, and on my football team just for a couple of days, and then we'll see what the remainder of the tournament looks like. But until next week, please do take care of yourself, folks, and all the very best. Okay, cheerio now.